they tend to suggest that you should engage in physical activity because it is good for your health or because it will help you reduce the risk of the disease A or the disease B and so on. I think this is a good approach to some extent, but I feel it is lacking the consideration of other aspects of the human behavior and human understanding of motivation. So I believe that currently, in most countries, the majority of the population knows that exercise is good for their health. It's difficult to find someone which does not understand that, okay, being physically active, practicing this activity, or being enrolled in a health club is good for my health. It's good not only for losing weight, it's good not only for gaining, for example, muscle mass, but it's important for my health in general. So trying to continue to incentivize people to do something because it is good may work may work to some extent, but data from the last 20, 30 years is showing us that perhaps this is not the best way, or it's not the only way to do that. So, grounded on dual process theories that has been popularized by several authors and several researchers like Daniel Kahneman and so on, and many others, they present us this idea that human thinking, human decision making machine is grounded on these two systems, system one and system two, where one is more quick and intuitive, and the other one is a little bit more slow, more reflective, more grounded on our experience, on an in-depth analysis of the information that we have received and the information that we have stored in our memory. And the results of the interaction of these two systems would lead us to do or to not do a given behavior. So if we consider, for example, this hedonic-based approach on, for example, system one, we can see that public message towards exercise do not reflect that an activity is fun, do not reflect that an activity can be experienced as a pleasant sensation or a pleasant experience. For example, when we see recommendations for use the stairs more often instead of the escalator, or try to walk more in your neighborhoods instead of using your car. These are good messages, generally speaking, these are good messages, but they are short in conveying the idea and the message that perhaps we can do some kind of movement that is interesting for our health just because it is fun, just because it is pleasant for us, because you feel that it develops a sense of enjoyment or fulfillment in your life, in your day-to-day activities. And I think that we should try and aim to help people understand that physical activity should be a lifelong concern, a lifelong decision, and that for us to understand and to choose something or an activity that we'd like to perform for a long time, this activity should be chosen individually instead of individual and towards something that the individual wants to do and likes to do, more than you should do it because it is important for your health or because you can have this health consequence as a result of those activities. For example, self-determination theory says that when someone performs exercise just because someone told him he should, because it is important for his health, self-determination theory calls this a controlled form of motivation. So the individual is performing the activity because someone outside of his thinking, of his feeling, of his interpretation is telling him he should do. We know that controlled forms of motivation tends to not impact the behavior long term. So the individual may be very, very strongly motivated to perform exercise because he wants to lose weight to the summer season and consequently have a better appearance to go with his friends to the beach. But this motivation, the energy behind this motivation is sustained by something that comes outside of the individual. I want to improve my image so that the others perceive me as more interesting, or I will lose weight because someone says to me that you should really lose weight. It is really, really important for your health. So these external and introjected forms of motivational regulation are not usually the best to sustain exercise or a behavior across time. And the message that sometimes we are giving the individuals to promote their exercise are related to these health conditions. So practice to be healthier, practice to lose weight, practice if you don't want to have some sort of cardiovascular disease. So if we know that this kind of motivation are not the best to sustain practice, why are we just focusing on those? For example, self-determination theory also says to us that the autonomous regulations are more interesting to support exercise or a given behavior. So the extreme of the self-determination theory of this autonomous regulation is intrinsic motivation, which means that someone performs an activity because he likes or enjoys the activity for pure interests in the development of that activity. So this approaches the idea of I do something because I like it, I enjoy doing it. And we know that when someone performs that activity because of these reasons, they tend to perform it for a longer period of time and with more commitment. So if you noticed, the extreme of the self-determination theory has this touch to hedonic components of motivation. So why can't we as professionals, for example, as educators regarding the physical exercise and physical activity literacy, why can't we help people to understand that movement is something important for our health, is something that is natural for human beings, and each individual must find the activities that they want to perform on a regular basis, they enjoy performing, and they feel that they can do those activities across or throughout all their life or a very long period of time. And we, particularly in fitness centers, we sometimes forget that our role as professionals are to help people to promote their health through physical exercise. Our role is not to promote physical exercise in the fitness center only, because the individual comes to train with us 3 times a week, but the rest of his life is outside the health club. So, what advice are we giving to people to help them sustain their practice? Are we advising them to pursue activities that we do not have in our space? Because this would be bad for our business. Né? For example, someone likes to dance. Dance is a great activity to increase physical activity levels. If someone wants to dance and if that person feels that dancing is a way to keep being physically active throughout life, and we do not have dance classes in our health club, what are we going to do? Are we going to advise the individual to continue our health club, or are we going to advise them to pursue their activity in order to improve their health, but probably leaving the health club? So I think public message needs to be a little bit reframed in order to consider additional aspects, not only grounded on the rational thinking processes, because humans are not only thinking machines. We do not do things merely because someone tell us that it is important, it is relevant. We are not as rational the majority of the moments as we think we are. And in the other side, we should try to promote the idea that if you like walking, walk a little bit more. You go walk with your dog, just walk a little bit more with your dog. If you like biking, take your bike and go a little bit to the coast or someplace and bike. We need to reframe the idea that physical exercise needs to be hard, needs to be painful, needs to be unpleasant, and we should do it because it is important for our health, and we should do it because exercise is medicine. Yes, but also no. Yes, that's all true, that's all important, but exercise is always, it's also a way of someone having fun, to spend some time in their leisure activities, some that it can be performed with family, fathers or mothers playing with their children in the backyard or in the park and so on. So we need, as professionals and all professionals that are interested in the promotion of public health, to, to sell the idea, to pass the idea that exercise should be something that you enjoy doing and you would like to perform often, and not the idea that do it because okay it is good for your health, or you should do it because you want to avoid that kind of illness, or you need to suffer to obtain results. This is the worst idea that we can sell, the no pain no gain idea, that you must suffer a lot if you want to receive a lot of benefits. No, athletes needs to suffer a lot in order to improve their performance. We, common folks, common individuals, we are not athletes. We are not capable of enduring what athletes want to endure or are capable of enduring. Our goals are not that demanding as athletes have. So perhaps we need to be exposed to a different set, a different. Um, we should be exposed to a different set of characteristics in order to make the activity fruitful, because we would like to improve one's health, but at the same time, something that the individual feels that he likes and wants to enjoy. Imposing activities often are not is not the best approach to supporting exercise, or to promote a public message.
Yeah, no, I love it, Diogo. It's music to my ears. What you're saying, and I'm certainly in complete agreement with yourself. You know, see the exercises medicine initiative, pushed everywhere, and obviously it certainly is, given the absolute myriad of benefits, both physically and mentally. But it seems not to be an inherently wrong approach, just an incomplete approach, particularly from a health and fitness professional who might be dealing with someone who's sedentary. Um, Typically they're there having that conversation because they know there's some benefits to exercise and they want help making it happen, rather than just what are the benefits for me. So I see the affect and the hedonic approach as a way that health professionals can get their clients to the goal of doing something that they enjoy, because I don't think that's revolutionary, right? To the idea of doing something or finding a different way to get to the same goal of doing more exercise, or different ways to skin a cat. But what I do think is really, really useful is like the feeling scale and the felt arousal scale. And even if you don't have access to those scales, is just introspecting on how you're feeling when you're doing different things as a guide to the affect that you're feeling during different exercise. And then iterating based on that. Okay, I feel great when I go for a run at this particular intensity in this particular environment, maybe outside versus on a treadmill inside. So just that level of reflection and introspection on the affective response, I think, in itself, independent of any scales, if you're not that inclined, can be really useful for people.